And welcome to another episode of the GamerHeads podcast. My name is Roger. Along with me are my co-hosts and good friends. We have Chris.
Hello.
And Mike.
Yes, thank you. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Roger for allowing me back into the GamerHeads podcast. I fully accept my 2-week ban. I would also like to apologize to the good people of Aberdeen, South Dakota for the comments I made the last time I was on. It was unprofessional and rude, and I promise it will not happen again.
And Carrington.
I just want to say one thing. Hey, hey, hey. And Votto still bangs.
And Phil.
I've been on hold for so long that Mike pissed off Aberdeen, South Dakota.
And Ed.
Hello. Good evening.
Wow. Like, do you remember last week? I remember Ed saying, Ed saying, wow, are we professional? Like, that was like a very straight, intro. And then this week we have God knows what that was.
Sent back down to the minors.
That's right. Well, welcome.
Traded to the Cubs.
Yeah. Ooh, or the Reds, maybe. Oh, snap. Well, welcome to the show. If you are a fan of the show, we would love to hear what you have to say about the show. You can leave us a review. You can leave us a review on iTunes, on Google Play, on Podchaser. In fact, I'll leave a link to Podchaser in the show notes so you can leave us a review. If this is the first time that you've listened to the show and you're like, hey, this is a video game podcast. How do I end up here? I like video games, though. You can subscribe to the show. Go ahead and click the subscribe button. And we'd love to have you as part of the GamerHeads Nation. And then also go check out our website at gamerheadspodcast.com or follow us on Twitter at GamerHeadsPC as well. We also do have Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook as much. But you can go there too and leave us a message if you'd like. So yeah, that's to get that out of the way. We have a pretty big show. We have a lot to talk about today. Some games that are new, and in fact, we'll be talking about the game 12 Minutes. And at the end of this episode, on the second half of this episode, I'm going to include the interview that I had with Luis Antonio, the creator of 12 Minutes. And he talks about what that was like making the game, some of his thought process around that. It's pretty. When I talked to him, I knew this was going to be an awesome game. Just what the amount of detail that he pays attention to in this game is insane. So stay tuned for that. Before we get into that, though, we do have our icebreaker. And the icebreaker, Chris, do you remember what that icebreaker was?
Kind of. It's a very wide lens kind of question.
Do you want me to read it or do you want to read it?
Go ahead.
Okay. So Chris was asking a couple of weeks ago, I think, there's a lot of unique games like mowing lawns and water pressure games where you like clean things with the water pressure. In addition that we have
pressure washer.
Pressure washers. That's the one I was looking for.
All I can think of was that one game where you turn all the pipes sideways to make everything line up that I'm now drawing a blank on. The puzzles were based out of. What the hell's the name of that game, Mike?
You picked one of the games I was gonna choose for you. It's like Pipe Dreams or something like that.
Pipe Dream. That's exactly what it was called.
Yeah.
Those
pressure washing. Pressure washing is what I was looking for. In addition, we do have precision controllers like the PS controllers, PlayStation controllers with the precision vibrate. So Chris was asking, what do you think is missing from gaming and how should it be incorporated, or what do you think is the next big addition to gaming?
Very wide.
Yeah, very wide lens. So who should we start with today? We can start with Ed. What do you think? No, not Ed. Don't start with Ed.
His eyes.
I'll start.
All right, Chris.
So, like since the pandemic, we're all using Zoom and all this stuff, and we're seeing face to face. I feel like that's missing from games. Like, and I'm not talking about streaming. I'm talking about when I'm playing Halo, they can see, you can have someone's camera on and actually see them. I don't know how that would work on the screen, because there's not much room there, but that's my big thought is I like that connection, right? Seeing you guys here. Yeah.
That would be pretty sweet. Like if you're playing a group and you got 5 of you guys playing and everybody's got like their own little corner of the screen with the exception of yourself, like, and you got to see everybody else's reactions, like it'd make a lot of things a lot more fun when you're playing multiplayer games, including both the joy when you've got that, like when you pull off that big win, or the agony of when you lose that big win. Or even like, for example, with the amount of golf that I've been playing lately and the amount of trash talking that happens when we play back and forth with our friends, like seeing all those kinds of reaction, that'd be absolutely priceless. And I do feel would exponentially add to the experience.
Yeah, like we could cheers, like after a win.
There was a game, and I don't know if it was a racing game or a Call of Duty or Halo or something, and I think it may have used the Kinect, where if you eliminated somebody, it took a really quick screenshot of their face.
I remember that.
It to you.
Oh my gosh!
And for the life of me, I cannot remember that. But yeah, that is a good idea.
I'm surprised it hasn't been expanded on more since that implementation. Because Phil is right, and so is Chris, because it was your idea. Like, because Phil, we played together recently in person, PGA Golf 2K21, and that was I miss like couch gaming with people. Yeah, exactly. And so that would be like the next best thing, because I've expanded my friends and none of them really live near me, so that would be like the next best thing for sure.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say that I think also that would eliminate, well, just my perspective, but my thought is it may eliminate some of the absolute trash terror. I mean, there's trash talking and then there's just hate, right?
Right.
But I think if you see somebody, it's harder to, like, I don't know, my opinion, right? I think that's part of the internet, is the problems with the internet is that people can say whatever they want because they're just like, I'm behind the internet, I can say whatever I want. But if you see somebody's face and you see somebody, I see you, Chris, and you see me, like, I'm not gonna say the right. Hopefully people would see the human side of their face.
See, I think that one could easily swing both ways, where it might even add more fuel to the fire as well.
Sure.
Like the second that you can tell that you might have that jackass, at the second that he can tell that he's hurt somebody's feelings, he's just going to go even harder and try to break that person. I think you'd have to be very selective and like opt into obviously something like that, where if you're going to allow your face to be shared, or maybe even just do it only like throughout your party that you're playing with together. Because I think if you're opening it up to a free for all, especially if we're looking at something like the new Battlefield game that's coming out, that's going to host 200 people, like there's no room on a screen for 200 faces plus all the action.
Right.
But it could do just like the person that's on a killing spree and showing them, like this guy is kicking some butt, Look at him. He's intense right now.
Get him. Yeah.
Get him. Hey, that's my neighbor. I'm going to go over to his house and cut his internet cord, the little asshole.
Yeah.
That's a really good one, Chris. I'm not sure I can think of anything that's going to be better than that, but I'm going to ask other people on this panel. Mike, what are your thoughts?
I think that the standard controller is due for an overhaul. We essentially, when we use our controllers, we use our thumbs and our index fingers, and we have the entire back of a controller and to really utilize. I know Sony had an add-on for their PS4 controller, and from the people that had purchased it, I think a lot of them were pretty happy with it. But I think there's much that we can do. I think didn't the Vita have like a touchpad on the back of it?
Yeah.
Like something like that, or maybe just like an extra 2 buttons, like just something like, I don't know, it's really just add extra functionality to the controller.
Bare minimum, I think you could probably move the select and start, or the select and start screens to the back and use your fingers for those instead of having them up here where your thumbs are. Like it'd be easier to pause if you had them back there. That's a good call. I like that.
And
the Elite controller, right, for
Xbox.
They have the back.
You can program them.
Use. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They
So
do?
yeah, make something like that standard. I think that.
Speaking of controllers, has anyone used the new PlayStation 5 controller?
Does anybody have a
Mike
PlayStation
has.
5?
Need to find one first. Oh,
Mike has
Mike.
I don't mean I don't technically have it. It's my kids, but
Oh,
I've
okay.
used it, and I actually got mad at him over it. I'm like, so how's the triggers and the restrictions that you get? And he's like, I don't like it. I turned it off. I'm like, then why did I buy it?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about. If
Yep.
anyone had used the
It was
pressure sensitive buttons or triggers.
I only used it like just for a couple minutes in Fortnite, and it was interesting. Like I'd like to see how they implement it in other things, but it does maybe sound kind of a little gimmicky, but not gimmicky in a bad way, like gimmicky in terms of Rumble, where it's like it's cool like the first time you use it, but now it's just like so common that it's like I don't even realize half the time when Rumble's going on.
About the Rumble thing, can I throw this out there too? Do you notice when your controller is about to die, when the Rumble stops happening, how weird it is that your controller doesn't rumble?
Yep. Yep.
It's
weird.
weird
Yeah.
how 20 years later, like that's now a thing where controllers never used to move, but now your controller's dying. You're just like, my controller's not rumbling. Oh
That's
crap! I gotta
right.
plug it in.
Something's wrong.
There's
Yeah.
something wrong with the controller.
Very cool. What about you, Carrington?
Okay. So I thought about this long and hard. And now that we're like getting into like crossplay and things like that, it would be great if we had a better system set up that comes to like speaking with someone that's across a different system. That's, I mean, we have Discord and when you have in-game chat, but sometimes in-game chat, if I have two different friends that don't know each other, sometimes they can't hear each other, even when all the like proper settings are set up and everything. It doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while it happens to where my two friends can't hear each other because they don't know each other, but I'm the connecting string between the two of them, basically. We need an easier thing because setting up party chat in, say, Xbox Live or PlayStation, it's super easy as long as you're within their ecosystem. But as soon as you go outside that ecosystem, and we have crossplay now, it can be kind of hard to set up something like party chat. And I like Discord, but the problem is now I have to put on a different headset to start using it.
Yeah. I already have a name for it, Carrington.
What's up?
Second tier friend.
Ooh, I like it. Second tier friend.
Because it's not, you know what I mean? So you're saying that the two people that are not friends with each other, but they're friends with you, they're second tier friends.
Oh, I like it.
How about benefits for friends?
That too. That's a good name too. No, that's really interesting that you said that too. I mean, it kind of ties in with the whole, video too, right? Like we have a better, interaction with each other. Yeah.
Yeah, just another addition to crossplay would be like cross audio or cross chat or something, right? Like something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, I think, and maybe Discord has gotten better, but I also think that the Discord servers have been unstable a lot of times. Maybe they've gotten better, but I agree. Like then it's like, okay, now I have to play near my computer. I mean, I guess you can use Discord on your phone, but yeah. I mean, Nintendo has it figured out though. They have the whole
What?
whole app. Nintendo Online app, right, Phil? Like that works out so well, right? I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's a good one. Phil, what about you?
I have nothing. You guys have all got really good ideas. Like I honest to God can't think of a single thing that could be improved upon, with the exception of adding all those other things. But along the lines of Discord, wasn't there talk that either Sony or Microsoft was going to buy out Discord?
Yeah, there was talk.
There was talk, and then got smashed.
Gotcha. So to say that, like, if that would have happened, that might have made chatting through Discord easier through the systems if you just had that automatically built into the system where you could then have that Discord chat wide open. But since that's not actually a thing, then that's not going to happen.
It did get a thing today when I logged into Discord that was like, "Hey, are you a student? Find your school on Discord." I'm like, well, that's weird. Like I'm not a student.
That too.
Did you? Yeah.
I'm like, I still use my school email. Should I do this? No.
Does that mean you still get Amazon Prime for like $10 a year?
Maybe.
Good for you.
Where did you go to school? No, I'm just kidding. Nothing else, Phil? Nothing else? No. Okay. What about you, Ed? Do you have any ideas? Ed, we're gonna go back to you now.
Yeah, the only thing that I was thinking of, and I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but was just getting more games with couch co-op again. And I think that goes back to kind of the general theme of this discussion of just making it easier or more fun to play either in person or see those people. You know, just better communication and connection amongst gamers.
Yeah.
Which I do have to say, my girlfriend and I were playing It Takes Two again last night. And again, she's absolute garbage at video games. She knows that. But we had the entire couch co-op experience, which was super awesome because, like, as we're sitting there and she can't figure out how to double jump and dash, I'm just like, AAX, AAX. We get done with the boss battle, like, literally high-fived each other. We never high-five because that's weird. Like, what kind of couples do that? But yeah, we get done with this boss battle. There was a high-five and just kind of like, that was awesome. She's like, I tried really hard. And I'm like, I know you did. You kicked all the ass.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
And the first thing she said when she woke up this morning was, remember when we beat up that angry toolbox last night? And I was like, yep, that was pretty rad.
Nice.
See, that's awesome. I mean, that's really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that you all have really good ideas. I don't really have anything to add to that. I think one thing that I'm surprised, well, they're starting to now, I guess. We'll see what happens with the Netflix gaming piece. But I was a little surprised that Netflix didn't jump onto the whole gaming and community type thing, right? So like how popular Twitch is and how people like watch people play games and then like, you know, chat back and forth and like build a community that way. I was a little surprised that actually, first of all, Netflix or any other streaming services doesn't do that with like even movies. But now they're moving into the gaming community. I wonder if they'll do like a community type thing where you can watch somebody play a game on Netflix and then have people watch that together. But I don't know. We'll see. I do think that this whole idea of community is so interesting, and just like playing games with other people now so interesting, especially with, you know, the fact that we've been separated for so long, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. I do like the idea of having better ways of connecting with people in games. So
I'm gonna tack onto that, like, another thing that my girlfriend said the other day. We might have been we were sitting at the bar because, you know, it's what we do. And we were talking about the trip that I just got back from and how I spent a day and a half in Cincinnati with Carrington and Kyle and then hung out with you for dinner as well. And she's just like, it's pretty insane that you guys are all as close as you are, having met through video games and just all via headset. Like, the fact that you guys have actually formed these bonds and have like good, deep, meaningful conversations and want to spend time with each other in real life, like, really says something about the bond of video games and what happens throughout the course of gaming. And when you're just grinding with somebody through games and just playing with each other, like, I've had late night conversations with almost all of you guys about some real life shit. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate what this community is when it's not the terrible community that it can be.
yeah, you know, I think it's similar to like when I was in high school. I had friends, but they, you know, we were a very small like group of people, right? Because of the fact that like we had our likes like weren't, a lot of people didn't like the same things we did, right? So like, and to find people that have the same likes that you had, especially in a small school, it was really hard. Then you go to college, or at least at Steven's point, and it's like, holy crap, there's so many people that have very similar interests as me. Like, this is awesome. And I think the same thing with the gaming community, right? Like all of you I get along with so well because of the fact that we have something in common, which is the gaming thing, right? And I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you guys are like, I say this every week, like, you know, my co-hosts and good friends, because you are my good friends, right? You guys are like, I confide into you guys and I like chatting with you all. And I like the fact that we're building a community and it's fun, right? So yeah, I mean, I agree. Gaming can be a terrible place sometimes. Like it gets some bad rap because of just some people that are real jerks in the community. But there's also some real positive things too in the community too. So, I mean, even the fact that, like, you know, I started a new job and that's how Chris and I even connected, right? Because of my gaming, liking of gamings and stuff. And same with Matt and Candace too, right? Like, yeah, I just think that's awesome. So, all right, listeners, if there's something that you think should be added to the gaming world, or where you think the next addition to gaming may be, send us a tweet at GamerHeads PC, or you can go online at GamerHeadsPodcast.com and leave us a message there. You can also send us an email at info@GamerHeadsPodcast.com, and we would read your responses on the air. All right, so let's go into the games that we're currently playing. And we'll start with you, Chris.
Sure.
What games are you currently playing?
So I have a couple. The first one is the Ascent, and I'm pretty sure you guys talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm starting to get back into it. Now I think an update came out and there was some glitches on the Xbox, not Series X, where it would tell me my graphics card doesn't have enough memory, or it would kick me out of multiplayer games. But I think that's all fixed now, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But it is a 4-player RPG game, kind of in the cyberpunk arena, I guess. And it's pretty fun. You can play couch co-op or you can play online. I wish you can mix the two, but that's not the case in this world. So I'm trying to get my wife to play, just like Phil, or I'm sure all of us that have wives or girlfriends, we try to get them to play video games when we can. But then I also want to play with you guys, and we got it to work once because I have 2 Xboxes where my wife and I played with Matt and another friend of ours, and it was really fun until my Xbox overheated or something like that and told me my graphics was not good enough. So
Oh my god.
yeah, it was crazy. Did it like 3 times. So, but hopefully that's fixed.
Original or series?
It was it's the Xbox One S.
Okay.
Huh.
So I thought it would be all right. It's not the original, but that's not the case. I did take it apart and take out all the dust out of it and cleaned it and put
Oh,
it back
boy.
together. So I'm hoping that did not solve this issue, because I did have it happen a couple times after, but it's not oven anymore, at least.
But can you play couch co-op and
No.
online at the same time? You can't, right?
No, it's one or the other. So luckily I had 2 Xboxes, so when I can convince my wife to play, we can still play together and play with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a fun game. It's great. I recommend it. As long as they fix that glitch. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. It's interesting that they allow for online or couch, but not both. I don't know.
Yeah.
That seems like old. That seems like, Mario Kart was doing that back in the Wii. So like, it's just weird to me to think that they don't allow that. But
does it not even do it if you set up like a guest account for her to play under?
Yeah, it doesn't let you. Once you're in couch co-op, it doesn't have an online feature anymore.
What if you went to online first and then set up a guest account though?
Then it only allows one person to log in.
Oh, that's dumb.
Yeah, we we tried multiple ways. So
weird.
But yeah, it's, and I don't know if you guys talked about this, but it does have what makes it different is it does use levels, right? So like if I'm ducking, I'm shooting lower, and I can shoot over objects, or I can like fully stand and then shoot over taller objects as well. So it's pretty fun.
Cool. What else are you playing?
The other game is Heavy Metal Machines, which is free, I think, on all consoles.
Oh.
Or at least Xbox, it's free, and it's not part of Game Pass.
Okay.
But it kind of reminds me of the old arcade game Off-Road.
Yes, I'm in.
Right?
Yeah.
Except you have abilities that allow you to shoot other cars. It's 4-on-4. There's a ball in the middle playing field, and you have to collect the ball and take it to your zone to score. And then the other team is obviously trying to steal the ball away or blow you up and take the ball to their zone. And then there's multiple types of cars. I think there's like 20 of them that all have their own abilities. So you learn how to use that car, or that machine, I should say. And then there's some that are just like support class, where all you're doing is healing the person with the ball or someone with the ball, or your team. And then there's, heavy classes where it's just machine guns and, explosions. So it's very strategic. Yeah, it's really fun. I recommend it to all of you guys.
So it's a free game. How do they make their money? Is this microtransactions?
Yeah. So like,
okay,
you get cars, but then if you want to get like the best looking one or a specialty car, you can pay money for that. But everything else is based on leveling up. Using a certain vehicle for so long, you get level 3 of that vehicle, and then you're able to purchase cooler skins. So
so it's just cosmetic that you're buying though. It's
yeah, it's like your picture, your icon, and the just like Rocket League, like the frame around your icon and the icon you have to purchase. But minor things. It doesn't affect one player over another player.
That's cool. Yeah, it looks really cool. That's certainly. And how many? You said 4-on-4? Is that what it is?
It's 4-on-4. Yeah. And another thing I noticed that a lot of games are doing is they're forcing you to do like a practice mode for so many levels. This one being like 25. You have to play online, 25 games online, and then you're able to do a ranked after that. So it's just their way of separating the good players from the bad, right? The beginners. So
don't get killed right away and get frustrated. Have some training wheels for a while.
I'm glad we've got the video up of this at the same time. This actually this kind of looks like the Rocket League mode, where you get whichever the one where you get the stickies on you.
Oh, yep.
Oh, yeah,
It looks like that. It looks like that mode meets RC Pro-Am.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. It looks like RC Pro-Am for sure.
RC Pro-Am. Yep. Yeah, and what you can see here also, like you can see there's those yellow zones on the side where you could actually go through, but if you have the ball, you cannot. So that's how the other players can catch up to you, because eventually you do take the lead. There's all these little shortcuts that the other players can catch up to you.
Oh, looks cool.
Yeah, it looks very cool. Yeah, I'd be down to play that.
It's
that
fun.
Like fun.
I love it.
Very nice. Cool. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Nice. What about you, Mike? What have you been playing?
I've only been playing, well, aside from my usuals, I'm not going to get into. I've been playing a new game that just came out last week, and I was so excited about this game because it's been like 6 or 7 years since the game came out. Has it been? Yeah. Oh my gosh, something like that. Anyways, I have been playing Axiom Verge 2.
Oh yeah.
And oh my God, if there is any game where you buy the best headphones that you can afford and pop those in and listen to that music, I think this is the first game where I've actually had the music louder than the sound effects in the settings.
Nice.
It's man, it's so good, and it's made by one guy. It's a Metroidvania game. Whereas, and he made some changes from the first Axiom Verge. So if you haven't played the first Axiom Verge, you absolutely should. It's an amazing game. But whereas the first Axiom Verge is kind of like a Metroid, or Contra, where you're doing a lot of shooting. Axiom Verge 2 is more like close combat.
Okay.
So while the gameplay still kind of remains the same, in terms of search for new areas, get upgrades, things like that, find new areas. You also it's a lot more. The type of gameplay is a lot different because you've got that close encounter where it's melee is your primary weapon. The one thing I will say, and maybe it's me, but it could be everyone else. The storyline is very confusing. That's how it was with the first Axiom Verge. I just smiled and I nodded. And I'm like, okay, keep moving forward, I guess.
Yeah.
But it gets pretty crazy. It's really tough. Like a lot of those types of games, it's very difficult at first when you're still really weak. But I'm really enjoying it so far. So if you like Metroidvanias, amazing smooth 2D animation, well balanced level design, definitely look at Axiom Verge 2. But before you do that, play Axiom Verge 1. The good thing about this, at least in terms of the between 1 and 2, it's a totally different story, but it takes place in the same universe, so you don't technically have to play one to understand the other.
Okay. Are you playing that on the Switch, or were you playing that?
Yeah, it only released on the Switch in the Epic Games Store.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to play the first one. I haven't played the first one.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It really is. I really, really enjoyed it. I bought it for my son. He didn't know it came out, so I bought I bought the game for his Switch, and I also bought it for mine.
Mm.
And he came to me like 2 hours later. He's like, "I'm stuck. I cannot get past this part. The game is broken. I can't." I'm like, "Welcome to the world of Metroidvania."
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's true. That's awesome. Very cool. Anything else, Mike?
That is all.
Carrington, what have you been playing?
Hey. So I'll get the usuals out the way. You know, MLB The Show 21, still doing a bang out job in the minor leagues. What can I say? I hate this game sometimes, but Phil did help me out because I did say about how in the career mode, I said it's taking me a long time to go up to the big leagues, so to speak. And he said, "Oh yeah, I know people that are in the minors for like 4 or 5 years in the game before they get called up." I'm like, "Oh, then I don't feel like a complete piece of garbage then." So I am currently in year 3, I think. So my dude is doing very well at the moment. But it's also weird to see how like a lot of the Reds players that I love are no longer on the Reds in the game. So it's just kind of like, well, whatever, Phil. So it's you know, it is what it is. I'm just trying to make it up to the professionals at this point. Played Rocket League the other day for the first time in God knows how long, and you know, I suck at that game. That game takes
You
Yeah.
drug us
requires
down,
you.
man.
I
You
know,
were
I know.
Killing it, and then you jumped in.
I was gonna say that game requires you to continue play that game to have some sort of skill still, you know. Anyway. So I will say this real quick. I've been playing a lot of Hades now that's on Game Pass. Just mention that real quick because Mike was talking about Metroidvanias. That game is fantastic. I cannot speak highly enough about the game. I love it so much. No, it's not a Metroidvania. Sorry. It's a roguelike.
Mike, have you played it? Have you played it yet, Mike, or no?
That's what he's
So
laughing about.
funny story. No.
No.
It is not a Metroidvania. I'm sorry. It is a roguelike game.
I keep hearing good things. It's on Game Pass. I downloaded it. I've got the physical copy for the Switch, still wrapped up.
Nice.
I'll get to it eventually.
I will say this, like, as far as like roguelikes go, it's probably up there as one of my favorite roguelike games because like
Yeah.
every time it doesn't kill me within 5 minutes, which is the problem I have with most roguelike games. Like I'll start playing and die within the first 5 minutes. This didn't happen. Like I wouldn't say I got really far, but from where I'm regularly getting to now, I almost got to the first boss on my first try. Like it's but I wouldn't say it's easy either, but it's like every time you die, I'm just like, I can keep going, and you unlock something new every time. And at that point, it's just like, all right, I got this new thing. I got to play again. I got to do another run just to see how far I can get. And each weapon is unique, and the power-ups are insane and awesome. Like I love just buying new upgrades just to see what they do. Yeah, this game is incredible. I can't believe I waited this long to play it, even though it's been out like a year.
Yeah, no, I think the other thing too that I find really fascinating with this game being a roguelike is the fact that the story, like every time you do a run, there's a new piece of the story that unlocks. Like to me, I think that's so amazing. And that's not easy to do because you know, with a roguelike, you don't know how far they're gonna go. You don't know if they're gonna suck and die within like the first 5 minutes, right? But like every run that I've done, it's like, whoa, like something else happened. Yeah, when I went back to hell, right? Like, and I just it's such a good. That's such a good game.
So
To
what's
me, a
your
big part of it
favorite?
too is.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, what is your favorite god so far? For both of you?
Favorite god that I like talk to?
Well, like gives you the gifts. Like
What gives you the gifts? At the moment, what's the water god?
Poseidon. That's my favorite.
Yeah, between Poseidon and the green one, the one that with the arrows.
Oh yeah, Archimedes or
Let's say
Artemis?
Achilles, but it's not Achilles. Yeah, Artemis.
Artemis?
I believe.
Is it Artemis?
Artemis?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
between those two, because those powers are super helpful every
So
single
good.
time.
Not Aphrodite? Like not Aphrodite. Like she's my favorite. I'm not gonna lie.
Roger, your thirst is showing.
Yeah.
When she showed up for the first time, I'm like, ooh, new powers. I'm like, oh, what kind of get? They're okay. They're fine.
Yeah, her powers are not that great, but like all the gods, though, I will say, like all the artwork is just so fantastic. with this game.
That
Zeus is pretty cool
soundtrack is
too.
just mind blowing in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Carrington, you interviewed the
guy who made the music.
Yeah, the guy that made the music, right? Dallas, is that his name?
I cannot remember his name off the top of my head. Give me 1 second. But we did interview him back when
Bastion, right?
What thing was it? Bastion at the time?
I think it was Transistor.
No, it was Bastion.
It was one of those two.
It was Bastion. No, I'm pretty sure it was Bastion. Because
Darren Korb is his name.
Darren Korb, yeah.
Very cool guy.
Yeah. So he did the music for this game. Did he do the music for Transistor too?
Yep. Every Super Giant games he's done.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I will say, like, that's one of the coolest things about that game and any of their Super Giant games. The music is so good, so good. I listen to the Bastion soundtrack quite often. It's so good. So
same. I'll mention real quick. I've been playing Splitgate a lot as well. Halo plus Portal had a baby. It is. Yeah. I did not think I was gonna like that game, and then I'm like, this game is amazing.
I was watching some. So Xbox was streaming that, and I watched a little bit of their gameplay of it. Yeah, it looks really good. I mean,
yeah,
it looks a lot better than I thought it was gonna be.
I was expecting, because like Call of Duty is very fast, along with like Quake like games. I feel like that's like the direction most first-person shooters are going right now. It's just super fast-paced, and this is not that. So if you love Halo, because Halo has much more slower pace to it when it comes to like encounters and things like that, you have time. If someone gets on you, you have time to react and recover and kill the person. Whereas Call of Duty, Quake, things like that, you don't have that time to kind of recover if someone gets the jump on you. Whereas Splitgate, I like being able to get the jump on people, and I have no idea how that encounter is going to go. It can go either way. It's a 50-50 shot.
So this is a free-to-play game too?
Yep, free-to-play. It has a battle pass type system to it, so that's how they make their money.
Okay.
I haven't bought it yet because I haven't really spent. I spent pretty much the entire last weekend playing this game, and subsequently the following 2 days also, because I was off Monday and Tuesday. So
lucky you.
I spent those 4 days pretty much playing Splitgate when I wasn't at the Reds game on Monday when they beat the Cubs.
Oh my God. So Chris, are you still playing this game?
Yeah. We actually played it last night, Matt and I.
Nice. And you're playing on Xbox? Are you playing on Xbox too, Carrington?
I am playing it on PC. I tried it on Xbox. Controller wasn't doing it for me, so I switched to mouse and keyboard. I'm like, yep, this is much more what I need.
And is it crossplay?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Very nice. Anything else?
One game that you and I talked about.
Yeah. No, let's bring it up.
Talk about it for just 12 minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna give it 12 minutes right now.
You're gonna do a 12-minute review of 12 minutes. That's so on the nose.
Yeah, exactly.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So as soon as it was available for me to play on Xbox, downloaded it, beat it. I rolled credits. How's this? I rolled the credits, but I had to look up how to do that. So I will put that up. I had to look up on how to make sure the credits rolled. This game is incredible. If you love story-driven games, the acting is phenomenal, which is what keeps the story going. Because you've got James McAvoy, Daisy Ridley, and Willem Dafoe, and those three literally carry the entire game.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
The cool. Okay, so the premise of the game is that your main character is in a time loop, and what happens is that police show up, or a police officer shows up at your house, accuses your wife of murder, and in that process, your character typically dies, and then he wakes up and does it all over again. But he's the only character that knows what's happening. Everybody else is not in that time loop. I mean, they're in the time loop, but they don't understand. They don't realize they're in a time loop, right? And what's fascinating about this game and the acting and just even the attention to detail that's in this game is the acting, the voice acting, like, will change as you play through the game, as you play through the loop. And one thing that Lewis told me that when he was building the game, your character gets handcuffed and thrown down to the ground. He said he changed it. He had to think about like, well, the third time this happens to you, you're not gonna when you get thrown down to the ground, it's gonna be different than the first time you're thrown down to the ground. So he like thought about those types of details as he was making this game. It's so unreal, and you can do anything in this game. You can click anywhere, you can do anything. Like I was asking him, like, so if I wanted to just like grab a bunch of dishes and you can do whatever you want. Like, yeah, we can pretty much do. You have 12 minutes, and you can do whatever you want. So, it's
that is something I
amazing.
definitely noticed about how different. Because there was one, I was pretty deep into it, right? Trying to figure out what to do next. I'm like, all right, let me try this thing really quick. So I don't want to spoil it at all. And everybody, when I tried it the second time around, everyone reacted differently, like completely differently. And I'm like, whoa, now I have to account for this possibly happening, me trying to recreate a very specific thing to try and do something that I needed to do. That was mind-blowing to me.
Yeah. Because you're trying to figure out what is going on. Because your wife is accused of murder. So you're trying to figure out like what is happening here. And you're also trying, like, I don't know if you have to, but at least I've been trying to convince my wife that I'm in a time loop when I play it. And I did, the last time I played it, I did convince her that I'm in a time loop. And she was like, holy crap, like, I'm believing you. And it was crazy. This game, though, is super intense. It's a thriller. It's not like a horror game, but it's certainly a thriller. And every time I play it, like, serious, like my blood pressure, I could feel it going up because this game is so intense. It's on Game Pass right now. So if you have Game Pass, like, you have to play this game.
Absolutely. And getting even before unlocking the credits, because unlocking the credits, it's only maybe an extra 2 or 3 minute scene after that. But like before then, when you get the entire story of how the murder itself unfolds and who did it and who's involved in it, I sat there for a minute, I'm gonna be honest, and because like I paused it for a second before like the next loop happened, and I'm like, oh my god, what just happened? And it's like, it's mind-blowing, and it fits everything fits. It's so engaging and so just play the game, gosh.
You in the second half of this show, we get into more of like the in-depth behind it of like what what his thought process was and how he built this game out. Like, I'm very excited for people to hear. If you haven't heard the interview before, I'll put it again at this, but he's such a nice guy too. Like, it was just such a great interview and great chat with him. So very cool. Everybody should play that game for sure. Anything else, Carrington?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
What about you, Phil? What have you been playing?
Classic throat clear. Outside of the usuals, which I'm just going to briefly mention, of course, MLB The Show, PGA Tour, and I've been dabbling in Rocket League again, as Carrington was saying. I saw a game listed on Game Pass that kind of piqued my interest, and it's called Recompile. Maybe it's Recompile. I'm not 100% certain. It was listed as a Metroidvania game, which piqued my interest because those are always a really good time. From what I'm gathering, and granted this is me, I don't pay a lot of attention to the story in almost anything because I zone out really easily. You're playing as a virus invading a computer in a system that's been taken over, and your job is to retake back the system. It's a third-person action adventure with a little bit of shooter and platforming going on, and it's got a very unique style to it. Where you're kind of like a blur of an animation and you're gaining powers as you go and discovering things. The world so far has been pretty open, yet semi-narrow at the same time, where you know what you're like. It's divvied up into levels. I got past the first section, which was kind of your tutorial section. And I got into the second one, and now is where it's really starting to open up a lot more as to how you have to get this to unlock before you can get to this, where the Metroidvania aspects of it are really coming into play. Gameplay is pretty tight. The camera's a little bit wonky at times, where sometimes you'll fall off a ledge, and not to your death, because every time you fall, you lose 10% of your health. The gunplay isn't the tightest, but I'm expecting that to improve as I get newer guns.
Hmm.
Soundtrack's pretty spot on, but a lot of the story is told through either your person in your earpiece whose name is Janice, which intrigues me because I know what Janice means, or through like artifacts that you pick up throughout the course of the lands. Janice is like god of two-facedness, basically, like of talking out of both sides of the mouth. So I don't know if maybe you think you're there to do good, but it turns out you're doing bad, or if you think you're there to do bad, but you're actually doing good. I don't know. But a lot of it's just found, a lot of the rest of the story of what happened to the computer is just found through these little files / orb things that you pick up that will give you small glimpses into what's actually happening. And it turns out that they created this AI that they're teaching how to become more intelligent than the intelligence that's already there. And it's learning. So again, as more of the story unfolds, I'll obviously know more of it. But that's the game that I've been playing outside of my usual ones. It's super unique looking.
Yeah, it looks really cool. Yeah. I don't know. I think that, I mean, it's on Game Pass, you said?
Yep.
Cool.
Did you recommend it yet?
As of this point, it's worth at least dabbling with, but I can't necessarily say dive head first into it and just go and throw 3 hours into it right away. It's tight, but it's not as tight as you would like a AAA would be. It's a little bit looser.
Yeah, I saw other people playing that too. I thought it looked interesting. I might pick it up, but there's so many games on Game Pass right now. It's like so many. It sounds, I know it sounds bad, but that's like a first world problem. But there's so many good games out there right now. Very cool.
And
Anything
we
else?
haven't even hit holiday yet.
No, we haven't. That's true.
And
No, I think
EA,
Well, I guess I played a little bit
Yeah.
of something called The Art of Drift, but I wasn't super impressed with that, so I put it down right away. The controls on
too.
that were absolute garbage, so I just kind of shut it down.
Yeah. Okay. Again, I played 5 minutes of the game. I thought the same thing, Phil. I was like, the controls are not great, and I instantly removed it from my Xbox.
I wanted to like it because I
Me
like
too.
racing games. I like driving. I like drifting and all that kind of stuff. But it doesn't play even remotely close to tight. I get it. You're supposed to be drifting on dirt roads and stuff, but man, I can do better than that in real life.
Yeah. I saw, I read a review and they're just praising it up and down. And I was like, I don't know. I felt the same way, Phil. I'm glad that you felt the same way, because I was like, maybe there's something wrong with me, because I just feel like the controls are not great.
I mean, I was drunk when I was playing it, so there's that.
I was not, and I still felt the controls were terrible. Anything else?
Nope.
Ed, what have you been playing?
Not a lot. I was out of town this past week and weekend, so not a lot of video game playing. But after a discussion last week, I actually piqued my interest back in Portal. So I downloaded Portal 2, and I've been playing Portal 2. Portal 3 is like the game I've been waiting for my entire life, or at least since I've played Portal 2.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite games of all time, and it holds up. I still get kind of drawn into it and just want to beat that next level. And so, yeah, it's been a good kind of just kick back and play an old game and have some fun.
Have you heard of a game called Splitgate?
Well, that's why I got interested in Portal.
Yeah.
Or re-interested. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sad to admit this. I've never played Portal or Portal 2.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
I know. You know why though? Because the systems that I played didn't have Portal or Portal 2.
Yeah, they did.
Yes, they did.
PlayStation? Did PlayStation have Portal? It
Yes.
did?
Definitely on the orange
The
box
orange
pack
box.
or whatever the hell they called that.
The orange box?
Yeah,
Yes.
it had Half-Life 1, 2, Portal, and Team Fortress.
Okay.
And it was on both PlayStation and Xbox, so you don't have an excuse.
No excuse.
Yep, find a
That's
new
true.
one.
I was poor.
It was $20.
Yeah, it was.
Damn it. I have no excuses. No, it's funny because my wife and I were also making a list of like classic movies that like we feel like we should watch, right? Like everybody's like, oh, you have to watch this, you have to watch this. And like I feel like I had to make a list of classic games that I need to play. that everybody else is like, you play, play, you know, and I played a lot of weird games, and I'm going to talk about a weird game that in just a moment here. But I really should probably go back and play some of the classics. Yes, Phil.
Roger, one, you should play Portal 1 and 2 on stream.
Okay.
Also, they are not very long games at all. Like you
No?
can probably beat both of them in probably a day.
Okay. All right. Phil, yes.
Is Killer Clowns from Outer Space on your list of movies you should go back and watch?
I have seen that movie.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is, yes, Mike.
Is The People Under the Stairs on your list of movies that you have to watch?
I have seen that movie too, actually. So
Yes.
yes.
Is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes on your list of movies to watch?
I've seen that movie too.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't even want to admit the movies that are on my list that I have not seen.
Just one. Just give us one.
Do you really want to know? This is so
Yeah,
bad.
give us a big one.
Absolutely.
This is a big one. Okay. And I'm embarrassed to admit this. I've never seen the movie Godfather.
Ditto.
Wow.
Oh, you haven't
Wow.
either, Chris?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Same
Not
here.
interested.
So you
Yeah.
haven't either, Mike? Okay.
Oh. Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife was like, Phil's leaving. My wife was, you know, because we have Peacock, and my wife said, it's on Peacock. We should probably watch this movie. Like, it's one of these, you know, like classic movies that I feel like I should watch because of the fact that it's, you know, in this, you know, pantheon of classic movies. I just haven't seen it. I haven't watched it. I have watched Blade Runner, though. Isn't that a classic movie?
Of
That
course.
Yeah,
everyone should watch?
I've seen Blade
Yeah.
Runner. That's a
Mhm.
classic.
All right. So with you guys being a bunch of non-Godfather watchers, can I ask who here has seen Titanic?
No, I haven't seen Titanic. I was going to raise my hand
Yeah.
out of just like
Sadly.
Mhm.
Sadly.
Trash human beings. It's what all of you are.
Have you seen it, Phil?
Titanic, I have never seen it. Not a
I've
second.
never
of it.
seen it either.
Hey,
Except, okay, 30 seconds of a trailer.
the boat sinks. If you didn't know,
It's why I didn't
Spoiler.
watch it.
Yeah,
Seemed
spoiler.
a little too
I,
outcoming.
I've seen Thumbtanic from the creator of Jimmy Neutron and Kung Pao.
That is good.
A classic. That is a
Yep.
classic.
Is he the same person that did Thumb Wars?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Anyway, Ed, anything else you're playing?
We can
That
move
went
on.
off the rails.
We went from
Yeah.
Portal to the Godfather. Let that
Thumb
be
Wars.
known. To Thumb Wars.
I have not played the game Godfather either. I
did.
have not played. You have? Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it true to the movie?
No.
Okay.
It's actually I shouldn't say it's a bad game. It's an okay game, but it's an open world sandboxy type of game, which
Oh,
I
okay.
will play each and every time.
Okay. So for myself, then the games I've been playing, so I won't talk about 12 minutes because we already talked about 12 minutes, but that game is really good. I'm just going to reiterate, go play it. If you have Game Pass, there's no reason that you shouldn't be playing this game. Like,
Agreed.
you need to play this game. The other game that I've been playing is a little game called Boyfriend Dungeon. So
Nice.
has-
Very nice.
you've heard of this game?
I've heard of it. I haven't played it. I've downloaded it, but I haven't played it.
It's also on Game Pass.
I have fantasies like this.
So there's no reason that
Same.
any of you can't be playing this either. So the premise of the game is that you are your protagonist moves into this town to, I think it's called Venice Beach. I think that's the town you're moving
That's a
into.
real town.
It's a real town, yes. And then you are your cousin lives there, and he has a just laughing at the video here. He has a mission to get you hooked up with somebody. All right. So, and the people that you're hooking up with are weapons. So certain people can turn into weapons, and some of you are wielders. So my character is a wielder, like the person you play is a wielder, and then the characters you meet are typically weapons. Not everybody's a weapon. And then you level up your weapon by going on dates with them. By the way, that girl right here that's up here right now, she's like my Valerie. She's like my love of my life in this game.
Not Isaac?
Not Isaac.
Oh, come on,
Yeah,
bro.
no, not Isaac. So yeah, so you go on, you dungeon dive with the weapon, and you level up with them, and you get different materials that you can craft different things. So you can craft like hats and shirts and hats and shirts, I think, are the only 2 clothing you can. But then you can also craft gifts that you can give to the dates, so you can go on dates with these people, and then it unlocks different stories with them as well, which is really cool. Actually, I think that actually is a very cool aspect of the game, that the learning about the different characters, because it's really well written. This game is getting a little flack though. When you start up the game, one of the first things that comes up says, "Hey, this game can trigger some feelings in people. There are people that stalk you in this game, and constantly stalk you in this game. And then also you will get texts from your mom, and you can turn off the text from your mom. And I will say, probably turn off the text from your mom. They're just like weird. Your mom's just like, I love you, honey. I hope you're having fun. I hope that you're finding dates. Well, this is weird. She's weird. But there is a character in this game. I'm not going to say the name of the character because I don't want to give it away. So, well, I don't know. I don't know if I do want to give it away or not. This character's bad. I mean, at first I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, I'm sure it's not terrible. It is really bad. Like, this character will show up at one of your dates and then text you and say, that didn't go well, did it? And then he'll drop off flowers at your house, and you're like, and I text him, I was like, leave me alone. And he's like, oh, you like it, honey, don't you? And I'm like, no, I don't actually. Leave me alone. And it gets really, really, really bad, I guess. Like, and you can't ignore it. If you want the game to go forward, you have to interact with this guy. Like, he's part of the story. Which the creators are getting a little bit of flack for. One, that the warning wasn't as direct as what people wanted it to be. And then secondly, the guy that did the voice of this character is getting death threats now, which is crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, the gameplay itself is fantastic. It's really good, actually. The gameplay is really, really, really good. It reminds me a little bit of Hades, actually, because you get different weapons and you keep going down lower and lower into the level, and until either you say, I'm going to go back, or you die. And then you go back to your apartment, and then you can go on dates with, different people and such. But I will say, like, the guy that harasses you, it's pretty bad.
Harassing.
Was that?
It's harassing.
It's harassing. Yeah, he's like constantly in your face. There was one scene where I took my date to a barbecue, and he shows up and like just is a real jerk, and just like, it's creepy. He's really creepy. And and I mean, I think for me, like, so I will admit, I did have a stalker in college, but I never felt threatened by the stalker. Like, she called me like 3 or 4 times a day, and my roommates would finally say, you need to talk to her. Like, you need to tell her you're not interested. And then I actually asked one of my friends to act as my girlfriend, so to convince this person not to bother me, and it didn't stop this person from bothering me. But I never felt like I was ever in danger, right? Like, and then when I was in the dorms, there was one guy that was also on staff, and this is where I think it can get really creepy. So the guy, he liked this girl, and he thought it'd be really sweet if when she was off the class, he grabbed the key to her dorm room, because we all had access to everybody's keys, because in case somebody locked themselves out, we had to get the keys. He unlocked the dorm room and waited for her to come back from her class with a dozen roses. So yeah, so I can see like where people will be like, holy crap, this triggers some like thoughts and stuff like that. So but yeah, it's Boyfriend Dungeon.
Question.
Yes.
So you mentioned that Valerie was your favorite, but
Yeah.
it's called Boyfriend Dungeon, which is your favorite of the boys.
The
name.
boys?
Yes.
I like the pop star. I can't think of his name.
Okay.
But he is like a laser. He's like a lightsaber, so he's pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of Sunder. He's kind of weird. and yeah, so that's that character that's showing up right now. The lightsaber is pretty cool. But one other thing I will say too is like I'm at this point now where I don't think I can progress any further because I was just going on dates with Valerie and just trying to level up that character or that weapon, I should say. And now I'm at a point where they won't let me level her up until I level all their characters up, which I'm not a big fan of. I'm just like, if I found one weapon that I really like and that's what I want to stick with, then I should just be able to stick with that weapon and just focus on that. But I feel like they're forcing me to try other date other people. And they don't get mad if you go on dates with other people. Nobody gets mad at you. None of the characters get mad.
They don't try to stab you in the back.
No, they don't. The other weird thing about this is, I mean, your protagonist gets lots of texts from a lot of different people that want to date you. This character right here is my other favorite character. You're asking about the guy. This is my favorite character.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe this is different for other people. I've never had like 5 or 6 people texting me saying I want to go on a date with you when I was single. So I don't know. Like that seems unrealistic, but also the characters don't really care if you date other people. They don't really care. In fact, the game forces you to. So
welcome to 2021.
I guess.
So did you choose the woman because she's a woman or because that's the obvious choice because you're attracted to women, obviously?
Yeah.
Or was it the weapon?
It was because it was a girl. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on the spectrum, like the male you chose seems to be more on what the traditional female, right?
Oh,
like
Very feminine.
At least what I'm seeing based on this. Oh, there's another female here though. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen her yet. I haven't met her yet.
I assume it's a female. I can't really see, but
and you meet the different weapons when you go dungeon diving. So like the farther you go down into a dungeon, the more you unlock. So there's 2 dungeons. I'm on level 10 of one of the dungeons. So, and apparently there's a character. Yeah, this one right here. Apparently there's a cat as well. So apparently you can date a cat in this game.
Nice.
Which is interesting.
It just makes you a crazy cat lady.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But yeah, I mean, I did go on a date with another girl in the game, but she was not interested in me. And that's when the creepy guy was like, "That didn't go well, did it?" And I'm like, "You back off, man." This character right here that's showing up, Rowan. I just unlocked Rowan, so. I will say, like, the gameplay and the stories are really the story is actually really, really interesting. Each character's story, like Valerie's story, is really, really interesting. And do you remember, Mike and Phil, do you remember that game, the one night stand game we played?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember, like, we all said this, like, you kind of, I don't this will sound bad, but you kind of got attached to that character, or at least you right, like none of us really want. Yeah, we were yeah, we didn't want to leave, like we didn't want to just like leave that next morning, right? It's kind of like this game a little bit. Like I feel like there's some characters that I'm like, oh, like I don't want to say I'm attracted to them, but I'm like I feel like
they're
like
well written.
They're well written. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Carrington, you are laughing your head off over there.
Safe though.
Just quick question.
Yeah.
What is this one night stand game you're referring to? For
Oh,
those
well
of us who have no idea.
worth a playthrough. Seriously, it's well worth a playthrough. It's a little
game's really
narrative
good.
tale about a one night stand. It was written by a gal in England, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
And
One night stand.
Oh, it's actually called One Night Stand. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you can find it for under $5, it's well worth your time, and you're gonna understand what we're talking about. Where like you kind of become a little smitten with a character that like you had a one night stand with, and you have to play through to get like multiple endings to the game and to get the correct ending. But it was one of the better games that we did on the Indie Focus podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. Each playthrough is only about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, It's super fast, but I will say this: there were some options that you picked that made me feel like a real jerk in that game.
There's some options that make you feel like she's a real jerk.
That's true. That is
also
true. Yeah, this is it. This is the game. One night stand. Nice job, Garrett.
Okay. It is $2.99 on Steam currently.
Oh, you have to buy it.
Buy it.
Seriously.
Okay.
It is
Buy
like
it, play through it.
It is a game that shows like anything
I got feelings
like
for all over again just watching that. I was
Yeah, I
like,
know,
oh, I
right?
missed that girl.
right.
That was that one night stand that got away.
That's where we also learned that Roger was stalking somebody too over at the coffee shop.
At the coffee shop.
Yeah.
At the coffee shop. What?
Yeah, you were
the
talking
guy
about
with
this one
with
guy
the
that you would.
t-shirt.
I didn't stalk him. He just walked by every day that I was at that coffee shop. I was not stalking him. Yeah, I don't know if I should even. Well, no, I'll just quickly share this story. So I used to live in a small town, and there was a coffee shop. And Saturday morning, I went there for some bagels, and a guy walks by, and he was wearing this shirt that said 0 to horny in 2.5 beers, and I was like, "Oh, dude, oh, you like okay? It's gonna take a lot more beers for whoever you're hooking up with to feel the same way as you do, my friend." And then the next day, I went there Sunday, and sure enough, there he goes walking by, same shirt on. And I was like, oh, dude. Oh,
worked.
I guess.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay, so those are the games that I'm playing. Wow, I didn't mean to keep going on that game, but it's an interesting game. I will say that. If you have Game Pass, and I will say the gameplay is actually really, really good. The story, I will say, if you have been stalked by people, you may want to consider maybe not playing this game, because I am a little worried that it would trigger some feelings in people, but certainly something that if you're looking for something different, you should check it out.
I'm intrigued.
All right, let's move on to Phil. What is this segment called again?
I don't know. I'm not even involved in this.
Yes, Games for Phil.
Games for Phil is what this is called. Now
Yeah,
I thought it was
that's right.
Tales from the eShop. What the?
Games for. I like that because that makes it sound like it's a charity.
Yeah.
Start growing my beard out now to look homeless again.
For only $4.99 a day, you too
Can buy a game for
Games
Phil.
for Phil.
But he's just gonna buy a 6-pack of beer instead.
This is truly, all the games that we pick out are typically like $4.99. So the game, we had off last couple weeks, but we're back, and the game that we picked out the game that Mike picked out a couple weeks ago.
No, I was banned, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
South Dakotans.
Yeah, that's right. Is a game that is called Easy Flight Simulator. Mike, do you have the description up for that game by any chance?
I sure do. Well, here's the description of Easy Flight Simulator. Have you ever dreamed to take commands of fantastic planes like jet, super jumbo, cargo, or stunt plane? This game is a real flight simulator with commands designed to be easily taken over at all age. Fly from Fly from checkpoints to checkpoints, showing your pilot skills in different weather and time of the day conditions, and complete all levels. If you always wanted to fly but thought it was overcomplicated, this game will prove you can do it.
You can do it.
Just like that description.
Yeah, look at that.
Not overcomplicated.
Right.
Look at this.
The graphics don't look bad.
Yeah, they look great. This looks a lot like Flight Simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator. This looks fantastic. Phil,
Let's just pump the brakes a bit. It's like a step down from Microsoft Flight Sim, but it does look great.
it does. I mean, it's much better than I thought it was. Look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look better.
Gadgets
So-
inside the cockpit.
Yeah,
That
we
looks really great.
Yeah, we only choose good games for Phil to play.
That's right. It's Games for
Very
Phil. It's a
true.
charity. It's a charity. So Phil, how much was this game? Was it like $5.99 or something like that?
I think it was $4.99 if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I will give the description some credit. There are 4 different planes that you can fly as, which all handle completely differently, and one of which is absolutely broken, unless it's my Joy-Con that was broken, but I didn't have problems with the other 3 planes, so I don't think that was the case.
That's just the feature of that plane.
Right, yeah, it's the stunt plane, so when you pull back, you just do loop-de-loops all day, and you can't hit the effing checkpoint. I can honestly say that I didn't make it past the first level in this game. There are 22 checkpoints in the first level. I'm just staring at this footage going, that's not the game I played. But it is the game that I played because those are the planes that are in the game. No,
Oh,
that's
no,
Flight Simulator.
that's
See,
like
I
it's
knew
not
it. Not Easy Flight Simulator.
I was like, whoa, that looks great.
I was like, there is no rendering on the side of the mountain where it all looks like mud until you're about to crash into it. There's no way that's the same effing game that I played.
The old bait and switch. Quite literally too with this.
Shout out to Garrett for showing the gameplay vids of everything
good
he
stuff,
talked about.
So, like with most flight games, your left controls your speed, your right analog stick controls your movement, your pitch and your yaw, I believe what they're called in technical flight terms. There is no in the cockpit view like we saw in the video. It's all behind the plane. You can switch to 4 or 5 different angles. You can choose between flying it dawn, day, and dusk, which I didn't see too much of a difference in besides the amount of glare that's heading directly into your windshield.
Oh, different conditions of time.
Yeah, there's 3 of them. They're there. Like,
That's-
that didn't lie either. But the planes don't turn at all. Like, I stalled out. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many times just trying to slow down enough to make a turn happen. And I've played a fair shake of flight simulator. Well, not necessarily flight simulator games, but like Ace Combats and your a lot of your flight shooter. This looks more like it. This is the absolute pile of wonder that I played. It got to the point where I played as the stunt plane. I couldn't get off the runway because the down on the right thumbstick didn't work. I did like the execution, that the fact that there are rings to fly through. But like I said, they're not easy turns to make. I think the furthest I made it through was about 12 of those different rings. I really hope this video is close enough to show just how muddy that ambiance is, or that atmosphere, as soon as we get close. But it's broken. Like I said, when I was playing as a stunt plane, I tried to take off. The one time it wouldn't take off. The second time I got up in the air and I went to turn to go hit the ring, and dude just starts flying in like loop-de-loops the entire time. No, couldn't even pull out of it. Like, I'd hit up to bring it back down again. It would kind of level out, but then I'd let back up and it'd just go woo back up in the air again.
Can you bring up your landing gears? Because this looks like you can't bring up your.
No, you can't bring up the landing gear.
Oh
The landing
my
gear, they're
gosh.
down the entire time. Well, that's why it's easy. You can land anywhere.
That's why you can't turn, you know?
That's right.
Exactly.
Also, why you can't turn. Yeah, the landing gear don't come up, but that's the first plane that you play as. There's 4 different ones. Graphically, it didn't
really
look too bad,
terrible.
with the exception of the muddiness of it. It was bad, man.
This looks really bad.
And you're looking at it at full speed right now. I don't know if there's
Oh
more
my
than one level,
God.
because I didn't quite make it past the first level, like I said. But I can't say that I would recommend this game to anybody at all.
Can you say that you feel like you can fly a plane now, though?
No, I feel like I learned more about flying a plane playing Ace Combat, and those are all fighter planes, and that's an arcade style game. Hell, I learned more about flying a plane playing Afterburn on the Sega Genesis back in 1992.
Is this better or worse than Top Gun on NES?
Worse.
Oh,
That's really bad.
I
Can
could
you
at least
land
complete.
this-
I
can
could
you
at least
land this
complete
plane?
levels. No, I don't. I landed it in the side of a mountain like 6 times, and then I gave up.
Have you ever landed a plane in Top Gun?
Yes.
Okay, me too.
wow.
It's hard. It's not easy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
This looks really. Oh God, this looks so bad.
Mhm.
Mike, I'm so sorry that you had to go and find this game. I am so sorry for you.
It's, you know what? All is forgiven.
Well, thank you for coming back and being on the show. Because yeah, I can't imagine what this is like to find a game like this on the eShop. I mean, it's just
I tried to fly down to Aberdeen and pick you up after your press conference, but I just hit the side of the mountain somewhere in between Minneapolis and Aberdeen, South Dakota.
Oh my God.
Granted, it didn't have any trees on it. It just kind of looked like somebody spilled a bunch of black and white paint all over the side of it, but I think it was a mountain.
$4.99.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mike, do you have something picked out this week for
I
Phil?
do. And Phil, I'm going to give you a few options. Would
Oh,
you?
I don't want
Oh.
options. Just tell me how to abuse myself.
Oh no.
Wait. Can we vote? Can we
This
vote?
way, if you
Yeah.
want, that's fine. Yeah.
I like that.
Okay.
Put it to a vote.
All right. Well, I'm not going to say what the games are. All right. So
Okay.
we have to choose between a new release for $4.99. A game that I'm curious to see for $1.99. And a game that I think is a little bonkers for $2.10.
So the game that you're interested in seeing for $1.99,
Yes.
like you actually think it looks cool, or you're interested in it?
I'm interested in seeing how it is. Yes.
Okay.
Can you read the descriptions for each?
Yeah,
game?
yeah.
Yes,
Can we read
that's what I was gonna ask.
let's
Well,
read-
if I'm reading the descriptions of each game,
title.
then you'll know what it's. Okay. Do you want the titles? Okay. So the new game, the game that came out this week, is called Metal Commando.
Ooh.
Cool, that does
Metal
sound cool.
Commando.
Okay.
Also known
The
as
game-
Codpiece.
The game that interests me is called Woodle. That's WOODLE. Woodle Tree Adventures Deluxe.
Ooh.
And the game that might be bonkers is a game called Monument.
I think I'm gonna vote
Monument.
Monument.
What was the second one? I'm gonna do that one.
Woodle
I'm doing
Tree-
Woodle.
Woodle Tree Adventures.
Just based
No
on that name,
looking up
just
pictures.
the word
No
Woodle.
No looking up videos yet. Not to
Woodle
lead you.
sounds amazing to me.
Ed?
I was going with Monument. So we have a tie.
Okay, Garrett, you are the tiebreaker here. Garrett is producing the show. Garrett, what do you say?
Third one was Monument, Garrett.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Garrett, if you want to put a video, I don't know, do we need a video up there or not? Or...
Is there a video for this yet? It's
I don't
a
want to
brand
see
new
what I'm
game,
getting
Well,
into.
yeah,
Yeah,
I don't want
let's-
to see.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
let me
let's
describe
not-
it.
Okay,
We'll
you
do
read it.
video next time.
Yeah. Oh, there it
Okay.
is. There it is.
All right,
This
so
doesn't look too bad so far. Yeah, go ahead.
Save the Woodlands. There's nothing wrong. Just so you know, there's nothing. I didn't see anything majorly wrong with the description, but
Oh.
save the Woodlands before it's too late. Woodle Tree Adventures is an old school platform game with a catchy and unique art style. You will find all the classical elements from the 90s games and new interesting ideas. Explore a total of 8 worlds and save the lands with the magical water drops you'll find along your journey, bringing back peace and balance and finally becoming the new hero. Features 8 immersive different worlds to explore, new items and clothing to unlock for Woodle. Run, jump, and special attacks are your abilities during the adventure. Vast 3D environments presented in smooth 60 frames per second. This is a deluxe version of the original game with a lot of new contents and improvements, which include a new original extra level, improvements to the camera movements, jumping mechanics enhanced for Woodle. The feeling of traveling around the world is refreshing and peaceful. If you want to relax, this is the experience for you, since both soundtrack and art style give a serene tone to the game. Even if you're not a fan of the genre, Woodle Tree Adventure is still worth considering just to witness the beautiful game world.
All right.
It doesn't look bad, and the description was good.
I haven't looked at the video yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This doesn't look terrible. I mean, it looks interesting.
Yep.
I'm just glad Phil's playing it, not me. You know, I'm just gonna.
The
Isn't
look
this
that
where you
Phil
have-
just gave you.
Isn't this where you feel bad for Mike because he has to read this stuff?
It's true.
Well,
That's true.
So-
I've heard of that developer before, Chubby Pixel, because they made Suicide Guy, and that game's hilarious. Broken, but hilarious.
All right. Just to let you know, the other 2 games, Monument is kind of like a Quake or a Doom style
Ooh.
game,
Oh,
Interesting.
and Metal Commando is a homage to Metal Slug.
oh, that sounds kind of neat. Cool. Well, Phil, there you go.
I will be all about the Woodle Tree Adventures.
Yeah.
I think 2 of us should play the other 2 games.
Oh, there you go.
They're on this. Well, they might be on other systems, right?
Oh, I'm sure if it's on the Switch, odds are it'll be on Steam as well.
Yeah, probably cheaper
Except
too.
for Easy effing Flight Simulator. That's only on the Switch.
Nowadays, they let anything on the Switch. Cool. All right. So that wraps up the show. Again, the second half here we'll have the interview with Luis Antonio, creator of 12 Minutes. But before we head out, let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. And Chris, how can people get a hold of you?
Chris at GamerHeadsPodcast.com.
Nice. And Mike, how can people get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter and on Twitch at TC Throwers.
And we should say this here, if you don't mind. Can I plug this here? Is it okay if I plug this here?
What are you trying to like get like your computer plugged in someplace or something?
Yeah. Can I plug this in right
you can
here?
Plug it in
Does it
anywhere.
work?
That's
Does it
fine,
work?
yeah. No, not there.
So Controller Throwers is coming back.
Yes,
right?
we took our summer break, and the Controller Throwers will be back in September. First
Nice.
week for early September. So
Yeah.
be sure to join us for all the tomfoolery, skylarkings, and shenanigans.
Nice.
No skullduggery.
No skullduggery. We got to draw a line somewhere.
Nice. And Carrington, how can people get a hold of you?
At Desert Fury 90 or at Real Dudes Podcast or realdudspodcast.com.
Nice. And Phil, how can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me on Twitter at bnow23.
And Ed, how can people get a hold of you?
Email at edward@gamerheadspodcast.com or Twitter at Edward_O'Keefe.
Oh, and do you want to plug again the Destiny 2?
Yeah, we're looking for some people to play a raid with us on Destiny 2. And so get a hold of us through one of the options we just went through. Any one of us individually or the general at GamerHeads PC Twitter account. Let us know you're interested and we'll get a hold of you and set up a time.
Nice. And listeners, you can follow us on Twitter at GamerHeads PC. You can also go online at gamerheadspodcast.com and you can check out the show there. You can also check out other articles and such there too. And then finally, you can go send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com as well. Yeah, on our site, we have quite a bit of stuff going on, actually. We got lots of reviews going on, episodes of this podcast, and when the TC Throwers come back, there'll be episodes of that as well. Carrington, have you guys recorded any new Real Dudes lately?
Not yet, but my brother and I are working on some stuff right now, though, to get back into the recording space.
Nice. And I mean, if you'd like, that could also be on gamerheadspodcast.com too.
Possibly. We're working on some stuff that's not just Real Dude stuff, like interviews and stuff.
Nice.
So you never know.
Nice.
Keep your eyes out. We're working on stuff.
Nice. So reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. All right. So Chris, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Yeah, and I also bought Monument for Ed to try. So
yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I will
No
check
problem.
It out.
It's on Steam. Yep.
And Mike, thank you so much for joining us this week.
No problem.
Carrington, thank you so much for joining us this week.
You're very welcome. And this is always Votto still bangs.
And Phil, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Always.
And Ed, thank you so much for joining us this week.
For having me.
And Garrett, thank you so much for producing the show. He does the behind the scenes for us, so he does a really good job and pulls up all those videos and does so at the split second too. So that was really awesome. Nice job, Garrett. Thanks. And listeners, thank you so much for joining us and giving us a moment of your time. We really appreciate it. Like I said, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the show, and leave us a review. We want to hear what you have to say about the show too. Stay tuned for the second half then with Luis Antonio. But until then, we come back every Sunday. So next time we're on the air will be a Sunday, next week Sunday. So stay tuned for that. Stay safe and game on, and we'll talk to you in another week. See ya.